Hey y'all, it's Lucy and I write my blog Paper Glitter Glue, and I thought I'd show you how I'm putting together this house. I'm calling it Faded Mansion because it's kind of a old-fashioned house and it's being maintained, but it's not like completely kept up. It's a little bit raggedy looking, and I just wanted to show you how I'm putting it together. It's based on one of my favorite houses called the Abandoned Italianate Mansion, which was one of my first really, really good houses. And this one is one that is what I call an inset house. This piece is too big to include the back piece. I don't have any cardboard that's this wide, so I cut out the front piece and then I inset this back piece. So I'm going to show you how I glue that together. I already put the windows in, and I just used some leftover acetate from packaging, and I stain it with alcohol ink. And then maybe you can tell I put some glossy accents on it, so it'll be kind of like wavy glass. That's the way I like to do my windows. You can do them lots of different ways. You can use vellum. You can just use paper, because paper will let light shine through, regular copy paper. Okay, so this is my favorite glue. It's called Eileen's Fast Grab Tacky Glue. I like it because it's very thick. In fact, it's so thick, I actually have to keep it upside down. So I store it in a little, like a pencil holder, so the tip is always down. Otherwise, you'll be like squeezing forever trying to get it to come out. Okay, so I put this on the two tabs, the inset tabs, and I actually kind of smear the glue so it makes a nice smooth layer. Do that on both sides. I've got my handy wet paper towel available, and I have my binder clips and my favorite painter's tape for holding everything together. Now this house, there's a Bill hair. I don't know if y'all know, I got this crazy cat called Bill. He interferes with my crafting. I got my favorite. Oh, this house is going to have siding put on it, so this is not the final surface, obviously. So anyway, so I match it up, put my binder, make sure it lines up good. Ah, shoot. This is how you know I'm clumsy. Okay, so we got that one. Now let's do this one. And line up the binder, make sure this edge is exactly lined up well. Get the binder clip. And I usually flip it because it gives more support along the way. Now I'll get the painter's tape. These are actually, this is two different forms of this from the same company. This is regular kind of sensitive or kind of low stick painter's tape, frog tape. And then this one is for sensitive surfaces. And if I already had everything painted, this is the one I use because it doesn't pull your paint off. You may notice I'm wearing a Band-Aid, and it was not a crafting injury. I was reaching in a drawer and grabbed something sharp. But it wasn't my craft knife this time. Okay, so that's the structure of the house. And now, this is one thing I do that not everybody does. I leave these flaps here because I think it helps keep the house square and it makes the roof more secure. So now we'll add glue to these. I call these roof tabs. These are the gluing surfaces. Anytime it's a gluing surface, I call it a tab. And I call this the roof flap to glue it to. So I put a lot of glue in there. The roof, there's an over roof, so I can be as messy as I want, which is, you know, a skill that I am good at. And let's do this one. Probably should do one side at a time, since you already saw me apply glue to the poster board that's below. Okay, so now you can I don't usually use the clamp because it pushes it in too much. unless I do the clamp like this, sometimes I do it like this, just so I can get this stuff down. But really for this, for gluing the roof tabs down, I think the painter's tape will be perfect. So I kind of angle it around, and then what you want to do especially is kind of make sure these corners are flat. Otherwise it'll end up pushing your roof up a little bit, kind of pushing the roof out. So, okay, that's that one. Let's get a piece of painter's tape for this side. Okay, then check to make sure it's square. Whenever you have a lot of cutouts, the cardboard is weakened, so it's a little bit, you can see that it's not exactly straight, but we've got enough additions on this house that I don't think it matters much. Okay, so next, why don't we put, this is the tower that's in the front of the faded mansion. Remember, it's based on the abandoned Italianate mansion, which is actually based on a real house in Cootersport, Pennsylvania, that they are renovating amazingly. It's like phenomenal what they're doing. It's going to be a bed and breakfast probably 2-3 years. They've got so much work to do. But I'm so glad they're saving this house. It's really a magnificent old house. Okay, so same thing. Push it together. Make sure we get the corners lined up. Binder clip. Catch that one up. Wipe off a little extra glue. Paper. Our tape. The painter's tape. Okay, so this tower goes in here. And I know it doesn't look good at this point, but it's going to. So this one, and I made an inset so that it fits in the roof, just because it seems to be sturdier that way. And I'm not going to glue it down now, partly because this has got to hold first. But when you glue it, try to make sure that this forms a rectangle, that these things are perpendicular. It doesn't always work out that way, but it works better if you do. So sometimes you have to push the ends in a little bit, whatever. And I used my clips there. I don't think there's enough room. There's not really enough room to flip them for this, so I don't usually do that on these kind of additions. All right, so that, except I'm going to do it temporarily just so I can show you how the next one, the next piece fits. I call this the front extension. So we got, excuse me. Just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to leave this here like this. Leave the front tower so you can see how this extension goes. And this one also has roof tabs and roof flaps because, again, I think it helps hold it square. And this will go here. It's 2 inches wide. So I will glue that one. I'm going to do my binder clips again just so I can demonstrate. Okay, so that is the tower and the front extension. And then I will glue these. These are the bay windows in the front of the front extension, and they will go here and here. And the door, it's called roofs. The roof will go like this. I'll glue the roof on. And I will probably apply the shingles first, just because I've got all these funky angles. So here's the trick to that. I'm going to measure it, put this on, and I'm going to draw a line where these intersect so I can work around them. So when I take the roof off, I'll just put the shingles like this, and I won't have to do it while they're on the house, and I'm trying to like tuck it all around and measure the angles. It'll be much simpler if I put the shingles on this particular house before the house is all constructed. And probably the same thing with this roof, because it'll be very difficult to add shingles down in this depression, this this kind of angled area. So I will probably add those windows first too. And then glue it on. And then for decorating, I wanted a pretty color. Like, you know, the idea is they're trying to, you know, maintain this mansion, but it's this old house and kind of hard. So I distressed this, put a little bit of black, and then I put a little white on top of this pretty blue called Mermaid Lagoon. And then I'm going to cut strips and fill in the areas around, you know, around the windows. And then on top of that, I will use some die cut windows to go on top where all these windows are. So that is the plan for the faded mansion, and I will update things as I go along. Okay, thank you for stopping by. Bye.